All right, folks, we are back here with the Reg.A Money Show. And Miguel, let's see about getting right into that mailbag and the email that somebody asked a question on. What was that?
Yeah, so this week's email, Ron, comes from Robbie B, and Robbie B is out of Pennsylvania, and he's writing in with a very interesting question. He's saying, let me just read off his email. Hey, Ron, Miguel, fan of the show. Thank you so much for providing this valued service to everyone here on the internet. Miguel and Ron, for specifically, I am looking for information in regards to how to structure my company prior to an audit, prior to engaging an SEC attorney, and prior to any audit from auditors. I guess he's meaning auditors like an audit company, yeah. So, if you could please go over that, I would really appreciate it. I know you guys covered it, but let me know. Again, fan of the show, thanks so much. All right, so let's get right into it. So, Robbie B., this one's for you, coming direct from the Reg.A Money Show. Miguel Doches and Ron Costa here with you. So how are you going to structure your corporation? So I would imagine that in your specific domicile state, okay, I'm going to talk to you about Nevada and I'm going to talk to you about Florida because those are the two states where I know some of the laws in regards to corporate structure and how things should be structured. In the state of Nevada and the state of Florida, in every state, you have a Secretary of State. Every Secretary of State is responsible for the documentation and the registration of new corporations. Now, an LLC is not a proper structure. An LLC, Ron and I, tons of listeners come to us and say, hey, I want to sell interest in my LLC. That's a limited partnership. An LLC, you can't sell interest as part of an offering because it's not common shares. There are different vehicles for offering LLCs, but that's not what we do. We talk about corporations and we talk about common stock because that's the one that most investors are familiar with. So what you want to do in your registration process is incorporate in your domicile state as a corporation. That's your first step, Robbie. So what you got to do is you got to figure out your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, okay? And once you have your articles of incorporation registered with your state, you're going to want to make sure that your cap structure, and the cap structure is how many authorized shares there are. You may want to do, say, 100 million shares at par, and par value is going to be anywhere between trip or 0.001 or 0.0001, 1/100th or 1,000th of a cent. Okay, why so low? Because that's par. That's the initial of value. Then once you've structured that, you've incorporated, your articles are live, you've registered your EIN with the federal government, you've opened up a bank account, and then you start putting your funds into that. So like your friends and family, all the investment, all the paid-in capital, all the equipment that you buy, you want to run that through your bank account. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to want to have some formal accounting process, be it an Excel spreadsheet, be it in online QuickBooks or Sage, whatever your accounting software or accounting method, you're going to have that because the auditor is going to want to look at your books. And your books are going to be made of your balance sheet, your shareholder equity, your cash flow, your statement of cash flow. So those major reports you're going to have, and I'm sorry, did I say shareholder equity, Ron? I always forget the shareholder equity, yeah. So the shareholder equity, you may only have 5 or 6 shareholders. It might be you, Robbie, and it might be those friends and families that gave you the startup capital that you needed to get the show off get the show on the road. So you may only have 5 or 6 investors. You may have yourself in a preferred position. I always recommend issuing some common and then having a little bit of preferred. So like if you do 100 million shares of common, always give yourself like 10 or 20 preferred, non-designated, what they call blank check preferred. That way you can go back and you could designate them. Maybe some will be voting, some will be a conversion. It gives you a couple of different options in those first couple of rounds for friends and family to say, hey, look, I have a preferred that's going to give you a 2-for-1 when we convert to common, or I can give you a preferred that'll give you some voting rights so that way you can vote, the majority of the control of the company. There's a lot of different things, Robbie, that you can do. But I suggest first step, incorporation. Second step is make sure that you have your financials. You're going to need somebody on your staff or somebody that's going to understand how to do notes to the financials, because the notes to the financials are the explanation, the financial explanation to what people are looking at on those financials. Once you have those financials and your bylaws and your board resolutions, then you can talk to the attorney, and then you could talk to the auditor. And I think if you follow those 4 steps just to start off, man, look, Robbie, I recommend that you talk to somebody, that has done this, somebody who has gone through that can navigate you through all those steps. The people at the crowdfunding, it's not crowdfunding, but the Reg.A money group, can give you that. I think, Ron, they have some links on our website that they can go to that will be more than happy to help you with that. There's a great company that'll do that. And then, for another show, we'll talk about everything else that's following that. But I think that'll lay out the foundation to a great corporate structure. So that'll get you going to the first couple of steps that you need to do, Robbie. Robbie, thank you so much for the question. We certainly do appreciate you, writing in and sending us that question. That was a really good one. Lots of steps in that, so we appreciate it. And a good corporate structure allows you to do exactly what FAT Brands did on the New York Stock Exchange, my friends. FAT. FAT is the stock symbol, now trading upwards of $12 a share. These guys are FAT Brands, Fat Burgers. If you're out of California and you haven't been to Fat Burgers, you're missing out. Not only an iconic brand, but of course, the way we always talk, Ron and I are always talking to people about you have to have a following. You have to have an affinity group. If you're going to go out there and you have an iconic brand like Fat Burgers, that you're going to have, 50,000, 60,000, 70,000 people that are eating your product on a daily basis? What a group of people to sell. Hey, did you enjoy that burger? Well, how about, buying a piece of our company? You know what I'm saying, Ron?
Yeah, and
it's just a natural.
And Fat Burger is all over the casinos here in Las Vegas. So I go there quite often. Actually, I really like their hamburgers, but they're all over the place here. So yeah, it's a great way to, like we said, in the whole thing about Regulation A, it's a great way to invest in something that you actually enjoy. So
no, and that's the key. And let me tell you something, guys. On that IPO, our friend, we had 2 friends of the show on that Reg.A, right, Ron? We had Darren Marble from Crowdfund X, who handled all the marketing for Fat Brands, and then we also had Mark Delowitz, who did the bank, who did TriPoint Global Equity or TriPoint Equity, right?
Yeah,
what's their name of the company?
TriPoint Equities, TriPoint Global Equities. And by the way, we're trying to get both those guys back on the show. They're just so swamped and busy right now. But we are going to get them on a future show, and they're going to talk exactly about this Fat Brands offering.
Yeah, no, and it was great. And those are friends of the shows. We've been talking to these guys for the last 6 months, and a lot of the people are figuring it out. You got to have the right combination of professionals leading the way and leading the charge on that. And so, you're going to want to have all of those professionals lined up, Ron, because if you do, you can have a successful offering. Not only did Fat Brands have a very successful offering, did they raise, something like $24 million, $25 million that they raised. I think it was $24 million, but they had institutional market makers, okay, what's called a syndication. They had to turn people away, Ron. They had so many people, so many institutional people wanting to represent them that they actually had to turn away people. I think it was the largest group of syndication so far. And I thought Myomo, which was pretty big, who had like 2 or 3 people as part of their syndication, Fat Brands blew that away, with 9 on the syndication.
Can you imagine what these Reg.As are going to do when the large institutional investors start considering this mainstream and let's look into Regulation A offerings? It's going to explode the market even more for guys like fat brands.
Oh my God, Ron! Yeah, it like we said at the beginning of the show. We are just scratching the surface. Only 6 companies, Ron, have actually made it from Reg.A all the way to NASDAQ. This is just the beginning, my friend. And it's a great industry to be a part of. There's a lot of opportunity here for a lot of different entrepreneurs and companies that are looking to access the capital markets, and we love being a part of it. And we love bringing this show to these people. You've been listening to the Reg.A Money Show with me, Miguel Dotres, and Ron Costa. We bring you this show on a weekly basis to inform you in regards to everything that's going on inside of the Reg.A industry and what's going on with different companies and people looking to access capital markets. So, Ron, with that being said, man, I think this was a great show, as always, from you. And, this just leaps and bounds, my friend, leaps and bounds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice bringing the information to our listeners. So, guys out there, if you want to follow the show, you go to regamoney.com. There's an archive list there. We have our news website on ipo2go.com, IPOTOGO.com. We put all our news articles up there as well. You could see our press releases. Everything that we do, we put on one of those 2 sites, and actually on both of them. And once again, like we mentioned before, you can hear us on the iHeartRadio network. We are on the iTunes. We're on the Stitcher Mobile. We are on Spreaker. And now, as we mentioned in the first half of the show, we are on the Amazon Alexa platform as well. So everybody, follow the show. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back at you next week with another Reg.A Money Show. Thanks, Miguel, and have a good week, all. Take care. Bye.